This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth. The case of the Mosque shooting involving the alleged shooter Alexander Bissonnette has been put off until May 29th, 2017. This comes after his lawyer quit the case. And although a motive is yet to be officially revealed here, this hasn't stopped the Canadian government from combating so-called Islamophobia. And in this video, we're going to prove that the Integrated National Security Enforcement Team is complicit in covering up this crime with the hopes of further eroding our freedoms and liberties right here at home. This is the National Council of Canadian Muslims, an organization that is leading the way in regards to challenging so-called Islamophobia or other forms of xenophobia. And here we see they've issued an open letter from Canadian Muslim leaders and allies to all levels of government. It says, Canadian Muslim leaders call for government action on Islamophobia. And when we open up the letter, it begins with this. Our hearts are deeply saddened by the tragic loss of life of 6 individuals as a result of the terrorist attack at the Centre Culturel Islamique de Quebec on January 29, 2017. All right, I have to stop this right here already and address this because this is how they're starting this letter, which sets the precedent. First of all, Alexander Bissonnette has been charged with 6 counts of first-degree murder and 5 counts of attempted murder. These are not terrorism charges. If INSET, the Integrated Joint Anti-Task Force Team, was looking at this as an act of terrorism, then the charges would reflect that. So after wrongfully assuming that this was an act of terrorism and was the result of Islamophobia, they're now asking the question, now what? And they give recommendations to 3 levels of government, and those are the cities, the provinces, and the federal level. And here in the cities it says increasing funding for local police services to receive training on hate crime and to annually collect and publicly report on hate crime. So beefing up the funding for police forces in various cities all around Canada. On the provincial side, all provinces to create an anti-racism directorate similar to Ontario and create a mandatory secondary school course on systemic racism and its impact on society. All right, this one as well I have a problem with here. Do we really need to be bringing this to the minds of the children when this is literally based on nothing? We don't know that Alexander Bissonnette was racist or a bigot or even had problems with Muslims or even Islam at all. This is yet to be determined, folks. That's the problem here. On the federal level, calls on members of Parliament to support Motion 103, which calls on the government to find ways in which the government can reduce or eliminate systemic racism and religious discrimination in Canada, including Islamophobia. And apparently this letter did have an influence. It did get its way because Motion 103 was unanimously passed in the House of Commons with a vote of 201 to 91. And last but not least, here we see they say the letter further calls on Parliament to declare January 29th as the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Islamophobia to honor the memory of the lives lost in the Quebec City mosque attack. I mean, are these people mental? The Integrated National Security Enforcement Team, which took over this investigation, has yet to reveal the motives of this crime here. And let's not forget the fact that Alexander Bissonnette called the police and confessed to this crime because he felt guilty for what he did. He sat in his car on the side of the road and he waited for them to come and get him. And we're supposed to believe that he didn't talk, he didn't confess, they don't know what the motive is? According to my investigation, Alexander Bissonnette's motives for what he did are very, very different from what we are being told by the government and the mainstream media. I've been on the case, folks. Footage has been compiled, interviews have been conducted, I've filed Access to Information Act requests, and the truth about what took place on that day, God willing, will be revealed soon enough. But until we have a definitive motive, until we have undeniable proof that is tantamount to a confession from the horse's mouth, well, we must reject every piece of legislation, every motion that they try to pass, every attempt to quell our free speech here and to try to silence anyone who just wants to voice their concern about Islam. Islamophobia is a nonsensical term because a phobia implies an irrational fear of something. But there's nothing irrational about having concerns with Sharia law and a religion and a culture that is in direct contrast to our Western Christian standards and values. And having this legitimate concern should not put anyone in the category of being a racist or a bigot. In fact, if you're watching this video right now and this is offending you, or you are feeling uncomfortable by this information, well, maybe you are just a butthurt social justice warrior who's been leaning so far to the left that your brain is starting to fall out. But if this message resonates with you, then welcome to the counterculture of critical thinkers. You've joined the ranks of those of us who are not afraid to speak the truth, no matter how unpopular it is. At Press for Truth, I've made it my mission to counter this propaganda that's coming from the government and the mainstream media, but I'm at quite the disadvantage financially, and that's why we're counting on the support of you, the viewers. We're hoping today that you'll step up to the plate and help fund the content creators that you support by joining us at patreon.com/pressfortruth and by contributing a monthly amount. You could contribute as low as $1 a month. Hopefully you'll pledge more, but even for just as little as $1 a month, you can get access to the patrons only stream, where I'm going to be uploading more members only content of what it's like behind the scenes here at Press for Truth. So if you want to support our efforts, please check out the links in the description below. Be sure to hit that like button, as it really does help us with the views, as well as sharing the video does that as well. Alexander Bissonnette's next court date isn't until May 29th, 2017, and a lot can happen in that time. So let's get this information out now while we still can. Share this video, and thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned. We're going to have more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth.